So we're here, we're starting our class on our backs, getting ourselves nice and present here. We have a couple of props near us to use, one of them being a strap. And if you are at home, you do not need a strap. You can really use anything. If you do have a strap, that's great. You can also use a belt. You can also use a towel and kind of twist it to get this long rope. So it's really anything that you can use, but we happen to have straps here in Devon, so we're going to make use of them. And then as for a block, same thing. You don't need a block. You can use one, but you can also use a book or something pretty sturdy in case you want to use it as a balancing or just an extension of a limb. But we can get into that further. So we can tuck those aside for right now. All we're gonna do right now is get ourselves here physically on the mat, present on the mat. So we are here physically, which doesn't necessarily mean that we're fully here. And I think that is true for a lot of different things going on in our lives. To fully be present is such a big thing, whether it's with technology, being fully present at a dinner, having your mind wander, whether it is on a phone or something else that is kind of going through your head. So here at yoga, we kind of use this practice to get that muscle memory, to bring that mindfulness, bring that presence into our lives. And with that, we're able to see and be a lot more calm and just enjoy life a little bit better. So even though we're here physically, we can start to tune into our surroundings here, becoming present, becoming more self-aware of what's going on. Maybe you start by deepening the breath. That's typically right off the bat a good yoga practice, focusing on the breath pattern. We can also start to tune into the senses around us, maybe thinking of or hearing the other sounds in the building, here where we are. It's a shared space, there's other people in the building, maybe there's some cars or other sounds outside. As we start to kind of follow that trace of our senses, we can tune in just a little bit more. If you're not already there with the breath, that's okay. We can start finding our breath, connecting the breath, taking a deep cleansing inhale through the nose and sighing it out. We'll continue back and forth just like that. Deep breaths in and out. As you continue just like that, noticing how the breath is flowing through the body. Maybe that's your first full breath that you've done all day. Sometimes it takes that recognition to bring yourself back there. Take a deep breath. Maybe you start to find your shoulders softening a little bit. We tend to hold a lot of tension in our shoulders, in our tummies, and in our hips. All really key points that in yoga we like to target and strengthen and also open and stretch as well. Now that you've found your breath pattern, we'll start to take that head to toe body scan, checking in with yourself, not just physically, but mentally, maybe spiritually as well, if that's something that resonates with you. All these different components about us, we can check in. So how are your energy levels? Are you feeling the need to wiggle and stretch out more? Or Or have you already had a crazy beginning of the week here on this Monday and you just need more restorative and just calming practice? What is going on in the body? What is going on in the mind? As we start to quiet the mind, we're able to tune in a little bit more, to listen to our body, letting it tell us what it needs from today's practice. A couple more moments here. I'll also hold space if you'd like to set an intention for your practice this evening, or if you have a mantra, which is pretty much a set of words or a phrase that you can declare to yourself throughout practice. Just another way to be present as we start to kind of multitask, doing some poses while continuing with our breath, while also having the rest of life come at us, thinking about what comes after this or what comes tonight, and so on and so forth. We can reel it in, taking one breath at a time, one step at a time, one pose at a time. A couple more moments right here in our centering. And as we start to move a little bit into practice, remember that it's important to listen to your body more than what I'm requesting for you from today's practice. Listening, what feels good in the body, that's the most important thing. So as you start to move, you can continue to keep your eyes closed or have a soft gaze, whatever works for you. If your legs are not already extended down the mat, go ahead and lengthen them all the way, just like we're laying down on the floor. We want to kind of keep this a little bit more engaged though, so we'll continue to press the heels into the floor so that the toes are pointing up. Maybe you start to find that natural curvature of the body, what is touching the mat, where you feel supported. All of these things you can take a quick little check-in. So as we start to go from feet up, checking in with yourself, we want to continue to bring the shoulders away from the ears, okay? And also keeping a pretty engaged core, right, as well. So you might start to feel how the earth, how the floor is supporting you. Once you start to cinch up your core, getting a little activation here in the tummy, you can really utilize all of the muscles right there that can really help us in our practice going forward. So we're pretty much just laying here for a shorter way of putting it. We'll continue to take some deep breaths in and out, really feeling that breath come all the way up the body, and exhale as if you're exhaling that breath all the way through your feet. Two more breaths here. Last one. On the next inhale, we'll sweep our arms up, just like you're building a snow angel, reaching all the way up overhead. And we'll take a quick little bind, so wrapping the right fingers around the left wrist. So you can gently pull away that left shoulder away from the socket, just gently, nothing extreme here. We're starting to get that length and separation in that left side body. Taking a few deep breaths here. And on your next exhale, we'll take a little side bend over to the right. So if you're just joining us for the first time today, whether you're at home or in class, just to say that I'm not the best by left and right. So here in class, I tend to bring a little landmark to our left and right. So in this case, over to the right will be to the door, and over to the left will be to the windows or the props. So as we're side bending over to the right, finding that space in that left side body, taking some deep breaths there. Maybe you're stretching a part that you didn't even know you could feel. Just checking in and seeing how your body is reacting. Two more. Last one. Through that exhale, we'll come back to center and we'll take a switch of the bind. So left fingers wrapped around the right wrist. Deep breaths up overhead. And next exhale, side bend over to the left. And remember, in yoga, we tend to do things on both sides. So don't fret if you went one side versus the other. I often get confused too. So don't worry about it. We will get both sides done. So over here, I bend over to the left, breathing deeply in that right side body. Two more. Last one. And exhale, reaching back up, and we'll bring our arms back down. Great. So we're back in our laying down position, which is really a different perspective that we could be standing up, as if you were imagining the back of the wall, really the ground. So keeping that posture, the way that we started off, so pressing the heels into the floor, we'll start to work with our hips and our legs, getting some stretches in there. We'll start by bringing the left knee into the chest, continuing to press that right heel down into the floor. Feel free to interlace your fingers over that shin if that feels comfortable for you. And we can start to rock side by side. I call this cradling of the baby almost. You're just having those small movements in the hip socket. So the femur bone, which is where your thigh is attached to a ball and socket where your hip is. And I know even for myself, it's hard to get those movements in every day, getting that open space here. So we're just checking this out. Maybe give yourself a little body scan, seeing how tight you're feeling. Maybe you feel some creaks and cracks or a couple pops going on. As long as you're not in any pain, see if you can breathe through it. As we come back through center, now we'll take some hip circles to really get that full range of motion in the hip. We can place our left palm over the left knee for guidance here, and we can start by bringing that knee into a circle position. It doesn't matter which way you start, whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise. We'll take both directions. But again, we're getting that full range of motion here in that circle. We tend to carry a lot of tension in the hips. I know that is specific for women too, a lot of emotions and tension in there. So opening and creating strength and balance, all really good stuff. Go ahead and switch directions if you have not already. Keeping that breath flowing. Two more rounds. And we'll bring it back through center. And at this time, we'll take our strap if we don't have it too far away. And again, you definitely do not need a strap to do this. And if you're in class and you want to do something like this at home, again, you definitely can do this without this prop. If you don't have a strap, you can just lengthen the leg in the air. You can bring your fingers interlaced behind that thigh. That's great. That's a great support that you have. If you do have some sort of towel that you or a rope or a strap, you can place around the ball of the foot, and you can take both ends of the strap in the left hand. The reason why I'm specifying in the left hand is because if you take one end of either strap, you start to get that pull inward. And right now, we just want it over that hip. So we can start to play around here, maybe that brings some intuitive movements. I like to point and flex my foot or bring some circles in, ankle circles. You can really start to feel the back of that leg, getting a good stretch in. So as we have this leg extended in the air, we'll continue to press the right leg into the floor, the right heel. So keeping both legs actively engaged. On the next inhale, we'll sweep that left leg across midline so it comes over to the door if you're in studio. So just across the body. Seeing with each exhale, you can take a little bit more weight out of the strap rather than keeping your leg up, using your muscles, engaging your core, keeping that leg lifted. Great. One more breath. And exhale, we'll come back through center, and then we'll take it out to the left. I'm a little obstructed by this wall here, but you can also utilize if you have a wall as well, making use of that. Those are great props that pretty much all of us have access to. So here we're working our abductors and our adductors, working those muscles. We'll take two more breaths. And last one. And that exhale, we'll come back through center, gently releasing the block, the strap, placing that leg back down, take a breather, checking in, seeing how one side feels compared to that other side. There could be a whole lot of sensation, especially being elevated to get that reverse blood flow. Maybe it's getting a little tingly. So we're going to take that same sequence over to the other side. So we'll start by pressing the left heel into the floor. So keeping that actively engaged, and we'll bring the right knee into the chest. And we'll start by doing that cradling motion, back and forth, or side to side, excuse me. Come back through center, getting ready for our hip circles, right palm over the right knee, and taking your hip circles one direction first. Great. Switch directions if you have not already. Two more. Last one. And exhale, coming back through center. Hopefully you didn't place your strap too far away if that's where you're going, the strap. And same thing, so place the strap on the ball of that right foot, both ends of the strap in the right hand, and right away getting some small movements in there, some little ankle circles or a point and flex. It's also a great little moment to bring some gratitude or appreciation into the toes and the feet as they do so much for us. Giving them a little extra love. On the next inhale, we'll cross over midline. Leg comes over to the left. Getting a deep stretch on that outside leg. At the right side T-band. Breathing deeply. Two more. Last one. And exhale, we'll come out through center and out to the right. Great. Couple breaths here. Last one. And exhale, coming back through center. Great. So we'll bring both soles of the feet to the ground, the knees coming up, and we'll give a little windshield wiper back and forth. Side to side. I don't know why I keep saying back and forth, but I need side to side. The next time the knees fall over to the left, you can go and let them kind of collapse on top of each other, getting some movement in the bottom of the spine, getting a little twist, all really good stuff, warming up the body. So coming back through center, and we'll take it to the other side. Knees over to the right. One more breath. And exhale, coming back through center. We can bring the knees into the chest. Rocking side to side, giving the sacrum right above the tailbone a little compression massage here. Slowly roll over onto your favorite side and make our way up into a tabletop position, right onto our hands and knees. So as we are here, we just want to do a quick little check-in with ourselves, making sure that we're already starting with a really good foundation. So we'll do a couple of things here. Right away, we'll start by spreading out the fingers, pressing into the finger pads and the upper knuckles, trying to take a lot of the weight out of the wrists. We also want to make sure that our shoulders are over the wrists, hips are over the knees, the tops of the feet can firmly press into the mat. So we'll continue with our spinal movement in our cat-cow position. On the inhale, we'll draw the shoulders back, bringing your gaze forward. And on the exhale, rounding the spine, lowering chin to chest, almost like you're pushing the mat away. So we'll come back and forth just like that. Now we'll start to connect the movement with the breath, really letting yourself flow with the inhales and the exhales. As you get the rhythm going, you might find yourself moving or manipulating the spine to move one vertebra at a time, really getting that space in the back to help protect our bodies, strengthening all the tendons and joints, keeping that core engaged. We'll take a couple more moments here. One more breath. And after that exhale, we'll land back in our tabletop. And we'll start to shift our weight over to the left to free up our right hand. On the next inhale, we'll reach that right arm up to the sky, opening up the heart. And on the exhale, sweeping that right hand underneath the left. Maybe that right side comes to the floor. If it doesn't, no problem. You can make a little prop with your fist to get that support. You can also make use of what's around you, whether it's a block or a bolster or a sweater to tuck under there. To keep this pose, this thread the needle pose active and engaged, we'll continue to press into the back of that right arm. You might find yourself having a little bit of more of a stretch, sending the breath into the back, just checking in, seeing where you feel it the most. 2 more breaths. Last one. And through that exhale, we'll lift ourselves up, reaching the right arm up to the sky one more time, and then sending it back home. Okay, we'll do the same thing on the other side. So shifting over to the right, inhale, left arm up, and exhale underneath the right. Couple more breaths here, checking in, seeing how this side feels compared to that first side we did. Last one. And exhale, lifting yourself back up, reaching that left arm to the sky one more time, and then sending it back home. Great. Okay, so now we're going to take another hip opener. We'll take our child's pose. So we'll bring both toes to touch. The knee is coming out perhaps about mat's width apart. Some people like to take it narrower, and some people like to take it wider. So you'll please trace on that to your degree of comfort. We'll start to bring the arms forward. Maybe the forehead comes down to the mat, reaching the hips toward the heels. Excellent. So we're here in child's pose. In yoga, this is considered a resting position. If at any time you need to come here to take a second, come back to the breath, it's more than welcome. It's encouraged. No need to wait for me to say anything, and no hesitation either. This is a great way to bring passive stretching into the body, as I'm sure you can feel getting that hip opener, and also getting that extension in the back as well, and a shoulder opener. So all these really great things are being introduced in child's pose. But so that we can continue on, we'll take a couple more breaths. Of course, you're more than welcome to stay. And on that last exhale, we'll start to walk the hands back right into our tabletop position. Okay, so we have two choices. We can either come into your puppy pose, which is similar to our child's pose. We can reach the arms forward so the forearms are touching the ground. This is option one. And option two would be to take your full downward facing by flipping those toes, lifting the knees, sending the hips up and back into the V shape. So yogi's choice on that one. We're still getting that great extension in the back, the shoulder opener, all that great stuff. Letting the neck be loose. A couple breaths in whichever variation you decided to choose for this evening. If you took your downward facing, we'll start to bring our gaze forward, making our way to the top of the mat. If you took your puppy pose, you can start to walk the hands back and bring yourself up so that your hands meet in front, in between your, your feet meet in between your hands, and we'll collectively land in a forward fold. So upper body heavy over the legs. As we start to build ourselves up, it's important to get our grounding. So I like to spread each individual toe up, just like what we did with our cat-cow positioning or our tabletop. Or I like to press on the tops of my feet to really feel the soles of the feet connect with the mat, connect with the floor, connect with the earth. As we're here in our forward fold, it's important to keep that neck nice and loose here. You don't want to put any more strain on it. And on the next inhale, we'll scoop up to a halfway lift, opening up the heart. Exhale, all the way back down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, back down, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, all the way up, arms up overhead. And exhale, back down. Excellent. So we're here in our standing pose. You can adjust as needed. We'll start to take our head to toe, check in with ourselves, making sure that we are starting with really good alignment. So as we are connecting the feet with the earth, we want to make sure that our weight is evenly distributed. So none of that hip popping out as my knee just cracked. We can start by lowering the shoulders away from the ears, keeping that weight evenly distributed into both feet, and really creating your spine within the center of itself. And that means not pushing the pelvis forward and not tilting it back either. And it takes a lot of work to hold ourselves erect, upright like this. So we'll take a couple more moments. I always like to say you can close your eyes if you'd like to get that blueprint. I'll always have my eyes open, but if that's something you would like to do, it's more than welcome. On the next inhale, we'll bring our arms up all the way overhead. On the next exhale, we'll keep that right foot forward, stepping that left foot back into a warrior one pose. So we'll bring the hips forward, just like headlights shining forward. We want to keep that bend, that knee over that ankle. And the arms up above for the cherry on top, but bringing the shoulders down. Excellent. We'll continue to press into both soles of the feet. 2 more breaths. Last one. And through that exhale, we'll swivel out to the right. Yeah, so we're all going different directions. I'm sorry, to the left. I'm sorry, to the left. Swiveling out over to the left, whichever is your left right now. That's the thing about yoga. You have to it's all relative to where you are right now. So we'll bring our gaze over that front right hand, shoulders down. I always have to talk to myself about that. And on the next inhale, we'll flip that front palm. And on the exhale, reaching up and back, reverse warrior. Excellent. We'll continue to reach down with that left hand as you bring your right arm overhead, bringing that space into that right side body. Beautiful reverses, everyone. 2 more. Last one. And exhale, we'll come back through our warrior 2. Next, we'll start to straighten out that front leg. It doesn't need to be locked, just straightened out enough. This is where you might want your prop as your hips come back or upper body comes forward. If you'd like to place a block on the inner arch of that right foot, that is a perfect time to do so. We'll continue to reach up with that left arm all the way to the sky. With each inhale, we'll continue to revolve that shoulder back, opening up the chest. Beautiful adjustments, everyone. 2 more breaths. Last one. And exhale, cartwheeling the hands down on either side of that front right foot. Go ahead and step forward fold, ragdoll, or water, yogi's choice. So if you're taking ragdoll, you can take your opposite elbows. Another variation too, which is kind of fun and funky, is you can place the soles of the feet on the palms. Yes, that is correct. I know it sounds really weird, but as you start to press your feet onto the hands, they kind of open up the backs of the shoulders a bit. So really getting yourself nice and head up. Yeah, so check it out, see how that's feeling. Feel free to opt for that bend in the knee if that is feeling good in the body. No need to have straight knees. In fact, if you have tight hamstrings like I do, it's better for the back that way. We'll take a couple more breaths here. If you took a bind, you can go ahead and release. On the next inhale, we'll sweep up to our halfway lift. Exhale, back down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway again. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach to rise all the way up, arms up overhead, rising with the sun. And exhale, back down. Right back to our mountain pose. Kind of auto-correcting yourself into that external rotation. Beautiful, everyone looks so good. So it takes practice. Even then, I always have to correct myself standing in line at the store, especially if you have one of those baskets that I tend to overfill and you're carrying it and you feel yourself kind of going sideways. It's really good to just kind of correct yourself. It's good for the body to not favor a side. So we'll take that same sequence to the other side. So on the next inhale, we'll bring our arms up all the way overhead. On the exhale, left foot stays forward, right foot comes back into our warrior 1. Excellent. So same thing, other side. Next inhale, swivel out to a warrior 2. I like to take a wider stance for my warrior 2. It's yogi's choice. Gaze over that front left hand. Inhale, flip the front palm. Exhale, up and back, reverse warrior. Breathing into that left side body. 2 more. Last one. Exhale, coming back through warrior 2. Straightening out that front leg. Remember, it doesn't have to be locked. Hips come back. Upper body comes forward into our triangle pose. Reaching that right arm up overhead, opening up the heart, opening up the chest. With each inhale, continue to revolve that right shoulder open. 2 more. Last one. And this time on the exhale, we're gonna come back for warrior 2. I'm gonna turn the other way just so that my back isn't facing. But basically we're all facing horizontally down our mat. So on the next breath, we'll start to bring our toes about facing the corners of the mat. So we're just taking a wide stance here. Great. On the next inhale, we'll reach our arms up overhead to a 5-pointed star. And on the exhale, bending the elbows, bending the knees into our goddess pose or horse pose. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, back down. Great. Now we'll start to flow. Inhale up. Exhale down. Continuing with your own breath. Great job, everyone. 3 more. And then we'll land back in our 5-pointed star. Excellent. Next breath, lower the arms down, and we'll just start to walk ourselves back. Great. So that was something that I don't know if we've tried before, but that was a really deep hip opener, and we're also working our muscles in our quads. So we're going right into our helicopter pose, really getting nice and loosey-goosey from all of those warriors, releasing the tension. And start to wind it down, just like you're turning a nozzle, just slowly until you're just gently coming back and forth. So maybe it's just an arm swing or a hip turn. Nice and relaxed. Excellent. Great job, everyone. Okay, so on the next inhale, we'll sweep our arms up all the way overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward, planting those hands down, and we'll take a step back right into our tabletop pose. And then from there, taking a swivel around with our feet forward, the legs in front. So now we built some heat there in our warriors, in our flow, and now we're starting to cool down, getting some more stretches in so that we can really make use of those warmed up muscles. So we'll take another forward fold here. And I know this position isn't really comfortable for people, including myself. So you can opt for bend in the knees if you'd like. We still want to keep that erect spine. You might visualize a fishing line that's gently pulling yourself up. So with the length in the back, bringing your arms up all the way overhead. And on the exhale, hinging with your hips over the legs. One more forward fold here. Letting the chest come to the thighs. And if you touch your thighs or your knees or your shins, your ankles, or your toes, all are perfectly fine. The goal isn't to touch your toes. So whatever works your body this evening. One more breath here. Through that exhale, we'll come all the way back up into our stack pose, the L-shaped pose. Let's come into a couple of spinal twists. We'll start by keeping that right leg down the mat, and we'll bring that left knee into the chest. Yogi's option to either keep it parallel to that leg or crossing over. I like to cross my leg over, but again, yogi's choice on that one. We'll start to wrap our right arm around the knee, bringing the left hand back for support. So you're already coming into that twist. Maybe you just kind of adjust your stance a little bit, pressing into the sit bones. So the bones underneath the flesh of your glutes. With each inhale, we'll continue to lengthen the spine. And on the exhale, continuing to rotate. Finding that space there, even if it doesn't seem like a lot. Excellent. 2 more breaths. Last one. And exhale, unwind the spine. You can go ahead and untangle the legs if you took that crossover. And we'll take it to the other side. So right leg, left arm wrapped around, right hand back for support, twisting over to the right, over to the door. Or whichever side you haven't done yet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Two more breaths. Last one. Exhale, go ahead and unwind the spine, untangle the legs, and we'll start to bring ourselves all the way down the mat. If you'd like to take a prop with you, you're more than welcome to. And we'll start to come all the way down, just like how we kind of started our practice with. And right away, we'll bring the soles of the feet to the ground. The knee is coming up, and we'll take a figure 4 pose. So we'll cross the right ankle over the left knee, and we have the different variations. You can either stay right here, which is perfectly great, or you can also float that left leg, threading the needle, interlacing your fingers behind that left thigh, which is also really great. Whatever your body is asking for this evening. We'll breathe into another hip opener. More breaths here. Last one. And exhale. We'll take our bind, release our bind. And we've had one, untangling the legs, and we'll take it to the other side. So left ankle crossing over the right knee. Whichever variation you're working with. Two more breaths. Last one. And exhale, go ahead, release your bind, untangle the legs, and we'll give a little windshield wiper back and forth. So at this time, if there's any other shapes or postures that your body is calling for or that you need to complete your practice, now is the time. I try to give a couple moments to let your body tell you what it needs. You can also come right into your Shavasana. That's perfectly fine too. If you are in the need to move around a little bit more, you're not quite sure where to go, there's some great closing poses that you can come into. One of them being Supta Baddha Konasana, the soles of the feet together, the knees coming out, working again with your hips, which is really great. We did a lot of hip openers with our warriors. You can also come into happy baby, so bringing the legs into the air, reaching for the inner arches of the feet, kind of rocking side to side. Another thing too, since we do have our blocks here in the studio, is coming into a supported bridge pose by lifting the hips into the air, sliding a block underneath the sacrum, so you're coming into a full bridge, but reclined. If you have back problems, this might feel good on your back. I know for me it feels good, but just taking it easy, you're in a back bend, just being mindful of your own body and your limits. If you're looking to take it another step further, you can float the legs in the air, so you're getting that support underneath the base of your spine, and you can let the legs come up. You can also take your legs up the wall too if you have the space, whether you do this at home or in the studio here too. We're getting that just inversion, that reverse blood flow, which has a lot of great benefits too. And I know even for myself, when you're practicing yoga, you're starting out, you think of inversions as headstands and handstands and all those other funky poses, which look really nice and they have benefits that are all included in the inversion. But you can also take something as simple as this and still get the benefits, which is great. It's great to do at the end of the day. I like to do it before bedtime, taking my feet, my legs up the headboard. So we'll take a couple more moments like that until you feel complete. And if you're already in your final rest, we'll meet you there. Your legs up the wall, up in the air. Go ahead and let them come down. Nice and easy. You have that block underneath your hips. Letting it slide away. Start to make our way down the mat, extending all of our limbs. Just how we started, nice and heavy, letting us feel supported. Take one last head to toe scan, melting away any facial expressions, bringing a space between the upper and lower jaw, letting the tongue rest at the roof of the mouth, unclenching the tummy, releasing the hips, the knees, the ankles, and the toes, coming to complete stillness and softness. Shavasana. yourself, drifting away, come back to letting small movements into wind, overhead for the morning stretch. Down there, nose, and sighing it out. Breathe safe right through your heart, close out. You may join me in placing your right hand over your heart, left hand to follow. And I just wanted to close out and say thank you so much